Doing today? Welcome to my photography live stream where we talk about photography, see how the community's doing. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm doing well. Um, so I didn't have any specific topic today to talk about. It's always hard to come up with ideas about photography topics to talk about because I feel like, it's kind of all been said and done already up to this point. And even when there's like new camera releases or new lens releases, there's a little bit to talk about there, um, time to time. And then before I get too far along, let me know the audio and video is okay. I've been working hard this week to try to get the stream audio and video to be at least acceptable. Uh, I I think hopefully it's better than it has been in the past. It's ironic that if you set higher settings for resolution and stuff in OBS, it YouTube kind of makes it worse. But anyhow, I hope the video and audio is okay. And excuse me. Um, so as I was saying, topics for live streaming can be challenging, I think. And uh, audio is good or better. Thank you, David, and thank you, David Brown. Jeff, good to see you, Plato. And this side tomorrow, or this side towards screen. That's a heck of a screen name. So I um I wanted to, you know, I'll just talk about a few things that I've been thinking about and doing this week. One thing new is I never really got into using monopods in the field for like birding and things, right? You get your big heavy lens on, in my case, it'd be the 300 f4, and I really liked it. I took it out because some other people in the photo club were like, "Oh, I was thinking about buying a tripod or a monopod," and I said, "Well, if because one of my friends bought the I may have mentioned it last week. She bought a Canon R5 II with the 100 to 400, and it's just it's a beast of a camera, and she has trouble holding it for any length of time." Uh, in the field when we're out birding. So she wanted to buy a gimbal, all kinds of things, and I'm like, um, it's going to kind of restrict your movement for birds in flight because typically you're just panning and doing things like that, and you have to be pretty quick, right? And a gimbal is a good idea, but it's just so much gear to carry, and she's already carrying a lot with her just that lens and camera, right? Um, so I said, get a monopod, and then you can rest the camera on the monopod while you're waiting, and then when something pops up, you can kind of whip around and get it. Um, but she really didn't like the monopod. She didn't like using a tripod, and maybe the next step is to look at a gimbal that uh, might make it easier for her. I mean, of course, I did recommend, Micro Four Thirds, but uh, she's sold on Canon because she's been using Canon a long time, and it was just a easier transition for her to mirrorless, and her budget allowed for that setup, so it's awesome for her, right? But for me, I'm pretty content with the Black Rapid strap OM1 with the 300 f4, and I can go out all day long with that setup. But that said, when she got tired of using the monopod, I took it back from her and I said, "Okay, I'll use it for a little while." I was like, "Wow, this is actually really nice." So that's one thing. So I bought a new monopod, and I have I'll share it with you guys. It's on my deals page, my shopping stream. I'll talk about it more on Tuesday, uh, and then maybe do a video on that monopod. But it was such a good deal. I couldn't pass it up. And another friend of mine that was with us that day, just she buys everything I have. Like she sees me with something and she's like, "You want to sell it? You want to sell it?" It's like I bought that $25 camera bag, and she's like, "Oh, that's perfect. Let me buy that from you." I'm like, "Slow down, okay?" So I sold her the monopod that I had. I sold her my monopod that I use actually for my work, with an actual, not like a wildlife gimbal, but a motorized gimbal for the videos and stuff. It's great for that. And that's what I've been using it for, and I've been using that monopod for many years. It was a Sure, um, solid. I paid like $180 for that thing. That's a lot to spend on a monopod, right? But it's sturdy, solid as a rock, and it's never failed me. It's been an awesome performer. So I bought another Sure monopod that on the surface doesn't look quite as sturdy as the one I sold to her, but we'll see when it comes in. I should get it on Wednesday, and then I'll talk more about it maybe next week, when it comes in and how it compares to the one that I sold to the friend of mine. Because she tried it out while we were in the field and she really liked it. And I was like, okay. I was really reluctant to sell it to her too. I was like, why don't you just go on Amazon and buy one brand new for like 20, $30 more? And she just, no, I got to use it tonight and I got to use it tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, okay. Tell you what I'll do. Says you can buy this one for me from me, $100. She offered me 120. I was like, no, I can't charge. How about $100? And then I'll go buy a new one. And if you like the new one better, you can have that one, and I can take my old one back. Uh, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm gonna use it for a while, and but yeah, it's monopods are actually not as awkward or clumsy as I thought it might be for birding, because it's not terribly heavy. It's about, the one I sold her is pretty heavy. It's almost 2 kilos, I think, in weight, because it's a heavy duty aluminum metal with all kinds of attachments. But the newer ones are about 1.4 kilos. The carbon fiber ones are 1.25 kilos. And it was about $40 more to get carbon fiber, and there's a 0.15 kilo difference between the two. And the aluminum one actually has a higher load capacity. So I said, I'm gonna, for 0.15 kilos, I'll just get the aluminum one. Because the aluminum one I could get with the quick release clamp on top, the Arca Swiss quick release clamp included. And it's the same height. It's the same monopod, but it just has aluminum instead of carbon fiber. So that's one thing, one kind of new thing for me. After all these years, I mean, monopods aren't new to me, but I uh, I I tried it once or twice in the field with that lens, and I didn't like it. But now, when I went out the other day, I was like, this is pretty awesome, because I can just kind of and it has feet, so I can kind of just sit there and just lightly hold the monopod while I'm waiting for something to happen or a bird to come back, and uh, and then just pick it up and go, because yeah, it's a little bit awkward with a monopod for birds in flight, because you have to be kind of conscious of people around you and swinging around, right? But I set up. I'm going to go to another park tomorrow. I'm going to try and do a little bit of video tomorrow too to share with you guys. Um, I'm going out to Bombay Hook tomorrow, which is a huge wildlife refuge park. I don't know if it's a good time of year or not to go, but a friend of mine wanted to go from the photo club, and I said, "All right, I'll go." They invited me. I said, "Okay," so I'll go. And I got about 8 people together to coordinate. Let me show you. But I set up a temporary, because all our or not all, but a lot of tripods convert to monopods. The only thing is they don't have the feet, right? Typically, but I have this. I bought this light stand. I think I paid $100 for this, but it's one of these light stands that don't use twist locks or flip locks. It's an air compressed somehow. So you just raise it up like this, and I think this will support my my 300 f4. We'll see. I'm gonna try it. But this, what I like is it has really long legs on it because it's a light stand, right? Uh, but what's interesting is even as sorry about the clicking sound, is that it has this release down here so that you can actually, swivel. So it kind of implies that this is not just for light stands, but also for using with a, uh, video head and doing video with. So I, uh, I think this will be, look how long those legs are though. This will be really stable, right? I mean, I would never leave my camera standing on its own, or I wouldn't be too far away from it, right? That I couldn't catch it within a second. But so I'm pretty excited to try this out, and uh, I don't think that and it collapses down. It's pretty long though. It's 24 inches total. Uh, is the minimum height is 24 inches, and it has a little foot down here. It didn't. I don't think it came with one, but I buy extra tripod feet so that I can replace with spikes and things like that, right? So when I buy a kit, usually sometimes it's cheaper to get a kit that includes the rubber feet and the spikes versus just buying, one of the other by themselves. Because you know me, I'm always shopping deals, right? Uh, so I'm excited to try that. The only awkward thing about this light stand is uh, is sometimes when I'm walking around, it kind of creeps out on its own, right? It doesn't do it without. But if I have anything attached to this, like a little bit of weight, it doesn't take much weight to kind of pull it out. So that's the only thing that I found was uh, makes this difficult to travel with is the way it just kind of creeps out. Actually, it creeps out even when I don't have anything in it, either because I bump against something or whatever. But it is fast, right? I can just extend it, and it's solid, you know. But I just don't know about the stability and durability of this, like in the field for birding. I don't think this would be ideal. So I bought a heavy duty monopod from Sure, which is basically the replacement to the one that I bought like 6 or 7 years ago. It's their latest model, so it has a couple of uh, neat upgrades and workflow. There's a quick release top and quick, so it because you can also use it as a mini tripod, like a little tabletop tripod. So I was thinking, yeah, I could get that, easily convert it like two snaps, and it's a tabletop tripod, and two snaps back, and you're back to a full monopod with legs. And of course, you can use it without the legs on the bottom. So we'll see. We'll see when that comes up. Uh, yeah, it has. Yeah, David, it has a rubber foot. So yeah, monopods and birding. So I'm gonna use it extensively tomorrow out in the field with this, but the workflow is exactly the same regardless. Because I could convert my other tripod, which is a carbon fiber, to a monopod, but it doesn't have the feet, right? Or I'm sorry, the legs. It doesn't have the legs on the bottom, and I want to be able to just let it stand there next to me rather than holding it, so to speak. You know the difference, right? It's very subtle. I mean, holding a monopod versus holding a monopod that has legs, it's different, right? Just a little bit. Um, but yeah, I'm excited to try that. Uh, the other thing is, and this side too also talks about uh, the monopod as a walking stick when you're a bit older, since it's nice to have a stick to, yeah, definitely. using as a walking stick because that's all a walking stick is, right? Is a monopod. I actually have some nice walking sticks, which kind of prompted me to get a backpack. I'm still shopping backpacks. I put a lot of backpacks on my deal page because they're cheap, right? The cheapest one is like $16, and then I have them up to about $40, right in that range. It's kind of a sweet spot because you get a relatively medium or small backpack, which is perfect for Micro Four Thirds gear. And there's no need to buy like a 25-liter backpack if you shoot Micro Four Thirds. I mean, if you're going to go all in on camping or bringing your drone and video gear, then yeah, maybe a bigger backpack. But honestly, when you go out with a Micro Four Thirds camera, all you need is like, think about it. Take out the OM5 with the 12 to 45 f4, and what do you need a backpack for with that? But then, okay, you want to bring a tripod. All right, well, you can almost get away without a backpack, but then you want to bring uh, maybe a longer lens, let's say 75 to 300 or 40 to 150 f4 or the 2.8 or the 300 f4. But you see where I'm going. Then you bring your 60 macro or your 30 macro. You bring 2, 3 extra lenses because you want to do a lot of different things that day, right? And then you got your walking sticks and or monopod and or tripod and or tabletop tripod and or drone and or things to eat and drink while you're out in the field. It adds up, right? But all the same, I think for the most part, you can get away with a smaller backpack with Micro Four Thirds that'll carry your tripod, your camera, and 2 or 3 lenses, and you're good to go. And the only time you would need a bigger backpack is, like I said, if you're going to start bringing food and drink and drones and maybe additional video gear, because you could fit a backup camera in there. Because most of the time, the camera is not going to be in the backpack; it's going to be in your hand shooting. You only need it in the backpack if you're hiking to the location. But even then, when I'm going to the location, I want to take pictures along the way. I mean, why not? You know, we're not like Thomas Heaton and those guys that hike 10 miles to get there and take one picture. you know, I mean, I just I couldn't do it. I mean, those guys are pretty hardcore with their landscape photography, right? And you see the backpacks those guys always have on them, those big 25, 30-liter backpacks, because they got everything in there. But I think, like for most of us, my audience, you guys, uh, we just want little things to make things a little bit easier, the little things that help us along the way. So over the years, I've picked up tons of little things, and that's why I got all these drawers and containers and boxes. Each one is sort of got stuff in it for something. Like I have a drawer behind me that's really just for tripods accessories. Like the little mounting plates or the quick release plates or the feet and the spikes and whatever else. Tripods don't need a lot of stuff, so it's a small drawer. But I have a lot of different tripods, so I keep all the little extra pieces in there, right? um, I have another box for all my flash equipment and gear, another box for little bags like this, like these little pouches and stuff. uh, so along the way, you just start picking up stuff, and it's you have to organize all the stuff, right? I got another drawer just for the various different rated. This is a new one I got, new remote release trigger. It was on sale for like $25. Where do you get a wireless trigger with this kind of capability? Intervalometer. This is for the Sony cameras. It does everything. I didn't really need it for my Sony camera because I don't use that camera very much. But for $25, you know, I couldn't resist. I just couldn't resist it. I have gas, I know. It's back up to $60 now, so the deal is over. That's why I I have my weekly make a deal stream, because you have to hop on these deals when they pop up if you're looking for these things. Even if you're not looking for them and they're on sale, you should get it. At least that's my philosophy for now, until I'm broke. But yeah, so I got on a monopod kick yesterday shopping. I shopped for hours for a monopod. It's crazy how you just spend time, like you spend hours, if not days and weeks, shopping for something that costs like $100 or less. And then you go and buy a car like after one test drive, right? I mean, uh, it's funny how that works in real life, right? Okay. The other thing, yeah, the marketplace. I'm not personally a big fan of Manfrotto. I have a few things. I mean, their stuff is really high quality, right? And really durable. I have a Manfrotto B-free video tripod that I use in my studio, and I have a Manfrotto sling backpack, which is really good. But there's always something that I don't like about it. Something just that, I mean, the design is amazing. I just love how they look. But like the sling backpack that I have, it has this huge metal buckle on it that just clings and clangs. Not so much when you're walking, right? But like when you unbuckle it and buckle it, it just has this, like, it just, I don't like it. And then a friend of mine bought like a $300 tripod from Manfrotto, and she's had problems with it from day one. When I looked at it, I said, "Well, maybe she's not turning the right dial or doing, or this is too tight or something." But no, the tripod is defective. The legs, the shims inside the legs, don't extract and collapse smoothly in the one leg. The other two legs are fine, but the one leg is terrible. So the shim is out of alignment somehow, and I took the leg off and I tried to line the shim back up and put it back in, and it just didn't make any difference. So the shim is bad. It has to be replaced, and it's a brand new tripod practically. And then the tension dial for the ball head won't unlock, and I don't know why. I can't get it to unlock. And the knob should just turn, and it's got a secondary knob that I've loosened that does, you know, adjust the tension. It's the secondary tension, but the main tensioning knob does not unlock, and I can't figure out why. Uh, and there was nothing in the instructions. I went online and tried to get the manual, but and I watched a few videos about that, but nobody had this specific problem. I'm not convinced that I don't know what I'm doing with that tripod yet, but a knob should just turn, right? It shouldn't be locked. Maybe the ball head's got to be in a certain position for it to unlock. I don't know, but yeah. So I like I said, I think the Manfrotto stuff is great, but there's always something that just, because Manfrotto reached out to me actually a couple of months back in July and said, go to our website, pick out anything you want that you want to review, and we'll send it to you. And I'm like, and I looked for days, a couple of days every week for a couple of weeks, and I was like, this is a nice backpack, but it's like $200. This is a nice tripod, but it's $200. And I've seen tripods from Manfrotto, and I'm just not a fan. I have the Manfrotto Be Free tripod that I have. I'm not a big fan of it. It's not. It's a video tripod, but it just doesn't have. It's just. It's not stable. Things don't lock into place tightly, and there's always a little bit of flex somewhere in the tripod. So it's great for video work because you don't have to be quite as like rock solid as a photography tripod. But Anyway, I don't want to dump on Manfrotto. They make great stuff. I just always find something that just puts me off just a little bit, considering the money you're spending for a Manfrotto product, right? Okay. Yeah, always like a bag that has dedicated water bottle holder, so I'm not tossing the water bottle in the same. Yeah. And Paul says, like yourself, I can walk with my 100 to 400, 200 to 8 all day. I like to use a monopod with my 150 to 600. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe borrowing David's 150 to 600, the OM system one for my trip tomorrow. So we'll see. I'd have to go over today and get it, but I got so many things to do today. It's not even funny. Ugh. And Jan says, edited your bird photo from the swamp in Adobe 2024. My PC Win 11 froze and only restart possible. Win 11. Is it normal? No, that's not normal. I use Adobe Photoshop 2024 and it's never froze or crashed on me uh, that I can recall. I mean, if anything happens on my computer, it's kind of system-wide crash, like nothing works. It's not just Adobe, but no, out of thousands of photos I've edited, I haven't seen any consistent problem with Adobe or ORF files. Always bring a microfiber cloth in case I can quickly wipe off water. Yep. I got so many microfiber cloths because it feels like because I buy all these accessories and half of them come with microfiber cloths. So I got like this. I got a little tray for my microfiber cloths that I keep right under here. Tucks in nicely. I wonder if I got my B cam up. Yeah. So it just tucks in nicely right here under my desk like that. Uh, okay. Um, and that's just that container. I got a bunch more just laying around on the bottom of another box that if this starts to get low, I can go into there. Or anyhow, yeah, I don't need another microfiber cloth. When I go out in the field and somebody asks for one, I said, they just want to borrow mine. I'm like, just keep it. I got a billion of them. And hey, Zoltan, how you doing? Good to see you. And Paul says, I use the Manfrotto quick release plates, have them all on my tripods, very quick and interchange faster than Arcoswiss. Yep. I do have a Manfrotto ball head with one of those quick release plates, and it is fast. But I like to use base plates on all of my cameras that are Arca Swiss, so I have to kind of stick with Arca Swiss plates and clamps. Well, like here's my, I've shown this many times. This is I use a full bottom plate that protects the center screw. I mean, this is an OM1, but even so, uh, you can break your center screw and down here easily, even though this is, any camera. I've seen it on all cameras, all makes and models. Just the OM5, EM5 Mark III, a little bit more susceptible to it. So I always put full plates on, and they have the Arca Swiss on the bottom. Now, if I was a one camera kind of guy, I could see that it wouldn't matter much. You could just put one of those little plates on. Oh, Marco's here. How you doing, Marco? Years ago, I could only afford Slick and then 30. I don't know what Slick is. And 30 years ago, I got Manfrotto Monopod and liked it. 4 years ago, I got Manfrotto tripods and they are great and sturdy. Yeah, I'm sure the monopods are fine. I looked at a couple of theirs, but then I decided to go with Sue because I've been like you, right? I bought a Sue not 30 years ago, but like 6 or 7 years ago, and it's awesome. So I just bought another one. Uh, just like my Olympus OM system cameras, I really I really like them. And if they come out with another camera, I'll buy another one if it makes sense to upgrade from what I might already have. So hence the term fanboy, right? We're all fans of certain brands and gear. I find Sue to be excellent, uh, really across the board. Sue, I like Godox a lot, of course, OM System, and I actually like Nikon, but I just, excuse me. I hope I can make it tomorrow on the trip. I did something to my back. I don't know what, chasing Ellie or something, playing with her. Oh, Slick Art tripod manufacturer. I still have their 88 model from the 1980s. Oh, okay. Yeah, never heard of them. I'm always the budget guy. When I started out in photography, um, I watched YouTube videos and bought gear from all the influencers based on what they thought, or whatever they recommended at the camera store. And I'm finding that I'm starting to question the recommendations that my friends are getting from the camera stores. Because she told me she bought this at the camera store, and I'm like, it's kind of a mixed thing. Uh, and this is the other topic I was thinking about talking about today. Was are consumers in general, us, right, as consumers and buyers of photography gear, are we getting it right when we buy something? Meaning, are we getting what's right for us or not? And what is influencing our decision to get these things? Because there's two or three things that not just this person, but a few other people that said, they recommended this to me from the camera store, and it fit their needs. But I mean, I don't, I, I love my local camera store, but I question the things that people are buying from them. So, and ultimately, it's caveat emptor, and you have to do your own due diligence before you buy things, right? But I question the things that people are buying. It's like the person I sold the monopod to, my monopod to, she bought $100 monopod, carbon fiber, I forget the brand, well made, but I wouldn't have spent $100 on a monopod like the one she had. It was no different, and in some ways, in my opinion, worse than a tripod that has a monopod conversion where you can pull off one of the legs. Because, I said, well, maybe we can put just spend like 30 bucks and put feet, because you can buy the legs for monopod separately. I was like, maybe just buy the legs for the monopod that you have. So let me see it. I just need to know what size thread is on the bottom. And then we can get the right one, right? 'Cause I really didn't want to sell my personal monopod because I love that thing. But I got her monopod out, and I took the foot off, and all it was a rubber plug. There was no threaded screw inside. It was just a carbon fiber tube with a rubber stopper on the bottom. And I'm like, oh my God, why? Why does this monopod not have like a legitimate like metal screw inside so that you can change the rubber stopper or put the rubber feet or put spikes in the monopod? I mean, I don't think you need spikes for monopods generally, but didn't make sense to me. And if I was working at the store and making recommendations for people to buy a monopod, I would say these are the things you need to look out for, right? Make sure the feet, the feet would be number one. Make sure the feet have threaded metal screw, either quarter 20, 3/8, or M8, whatever specific size, doesn't matter because you can buy replacement feet. Make sure it has one of those because you're going to have to replace that stopper if you use it a lot, especially if you're using a dual purpose walking stick and monopod, right? The other thing I look for is the top plate. Is it removable? Can you reverse the 3/8 thread, the quarter 20 thread and back, and have a nice solid metal plate on top, right? Uh, and then the twist locks and flip locks, are the flip locks metal? I would rather have metal flip locks than the plastic ones. It's not a deal breaker, but if you shop monopods and tripods, you can find some have metal flip locks, some have plastic ones. Costs about the same money. Why not get the metal ones, right? I mean, there's a lot more to it than that, but I'm just saying, it's a lot of things I look for. So I'm going to look at the available selection and explain to them these are the things that will give this monopod a little more versatility, a little easier to use in the field, and like this one's lighter weight but doesn't have as high a load capacity. What are you going to be using it for? Are you going to put a video head on it, or are you just going to mount your camera on it directly? So there's a lot of things in the decision process to even like $100 item, and I guess this is why we spend hours shopping for these things, right? Or days, or should be doing our due diligence and really think through every purchase. Uh, so I mean, there's some things like this radio trigger I bought for $25. These are throwaway items. I mean, I don't want to throw away $25, but if I only use it a few times, I got my money back, right? Because a lot of Sony cameras don't have intervalometers built in. And I think this is something I might do a tutorial on to show other people how to use it. But something like a monopod, a tripod, your ball heads, the all the accessories, memory cards, you know, base plates, all these things are you really, really should think through to get the maximum versatility out of it. And I say this because I've I've bought so much stuff and I've made so many mistakes over time that I said I'll never buy something that has this particular design element to it. Whether it's a workflow that doesn't not compatible with me, the design of that whatever that thing is, or if it's just a design flaw in my opinion, like the base plate on the OM5, for example, right? W- It's is it a design flaw or is it a design that's not compatible with me? So it's all these things, and it wasn't just this monopod. There's other things. So I can only imagine if you extend that to cameras and lenses and whatever else is out there in the photography world that you can spend your money on. I really feel like I would be such a good salesman. I would be such a good salesman because I would really help the people get exactly what they're looking for. Now, don't get me wrong. What I like and things that I prefer, the workflow that I have may be very different than someone else, and I would not be able to make a legitimate recommendation on particular lens, camera, monopod, whatever accessory, right? May be totally incompatible with another person's needs. But for the beginning photographer, somebody that's very enthusiastic and it's got they got the bug, right, for photography, that's the kind of person I think I can really help make a better decision and influence their decision to make a better choice for their money, right? If they want to buy a, because I can go to Walmart and get a $20 tripod. I remember they had tripods there between 10 and $20, or I'm sorry, monopods. You don't have to think too much. These are throwaway type of accessories. You use them for a while, and then when you figure out what your workflow is, or if you're going to use a monopod at all for any, if you really like using monopods, that's when you spend some time. You want to spend 100, $200 on a good monopod. Uh, so, I don't want to. I would probably recommend a $20 monopod for people that are not sure what they're going to be doing, or what they're going to enjoy, or what the workflow is like with a monopod. But when it comes to, like, somebody walks into me and they're relatively new to photography, they love it, and they want to get a good monopod without spending a ton of money, or tripod, or whatever accessory, I think I hopefully I could help them, steer them in the right direction. So I should set up a photo meet just to talk about buying stuff. um, but that's what I try to do in my weekly shopping streams, is talk about the products that I bought for myself with my own money 99% of the time, and why I bought it, why I think it's good, why this is a good deal. And if you don't like it, Amazon has a great liberal return policy. Just send it back. It's okay. Not going to offend me if it's not right for you, or if you think it's a piece of crap. You know, it's okay. Everybody has different standards, right? I don't know what level people are at when they're buying things that I recommend on my shopping stream, but there's that. So, uh, enough about me. But that's my thought process when I'm buying things. I really, really try to put a lot of thought into every purchase that I make, because some things don't cost more than $20. They might sell between a range of like $5 and $20. I'll be like, I will spend a lot of time trying to figure out, is the $5 one going to cut it, or should I get the good one for $20? Right? Um, like, I was looking at Arca Swiss plates and clamps this morning, and there was a good range between $12 and somewhere like $60. I was like, that's so I'm researching. I was researching Arca Swiss quick release clamps and plates this morning before the stream started, and I decided on this one. It's about a $30 one, kind of middle of the road, but you have to, even thinking about Arca Swiss plates and clamps, if you get one long enough, you don't need to buy a separate nodal rail, right? Which is another $20 purchase. um, lot just a lot to think about if you're going to buy an additional, because a lot of tripods and a lot of tripods, at least, they come with their own plates and clamps, right? But if you want to buy one separately for yourself, maybe to add on to your monopod, or replace the one that's on your tripod head already, what what makes sense? What workflow makes sense for the stuff that you're going to be doing? So I'm always looking Arca Swiss, because, like I said, my workflow includes Arca Swiss plates on all of my cameras. Full bottom plates that are Arca Swiss compatible. Okay, this side, we all have levels of perceived value based on our likes and what we need. Researching equipment can take time, but also takes, yeah, yeah, it's a risk. And that, like I said, that's why I like Amazon, because it's very liberal. They really don't care why you're returning something. I mean, don't abuse it, right? I mean, you have to buy things in good faith, you know. But uh, I returned two battery sets, because I bought some AA lithium batteries. I bought three different kinds. The first one, I got five defective batteries out of eight. The second one, I didn't even open up. because so I don't know if the batteries are good or not. But the second one I didn't even open up uh, because the third one that I bought, because I bought these all at about the same time. The third one that I bought was fabulous. All 8 batteries worked well, no defects. All 8 batteries have a decent life to them for lithium ion. They don't last quite as long as the uh, metal hydrides, but good enough for my intents and purposes. Well, let me not get into AA batteries, but so I bought 3, but the first one I had to return because it was defective, right? But I did buy it in good faith. The second set that I bought, I didn't even open because the I realized that the charging base that it came in was not the style that I preferred. You could charge all 8 batteries at once, but it wasn't enclosed. The one that I bought was similar to this, where you can uh, put all 8 batteries in and close it and take it with you. So the batteries are safe, separated, and they charge inside the case. The other charger, all the batteries were sitting up vertical, right? Which looks neat. It looks neat. And I got a good deal on it. But then I realized that this was not part of my workflow. But I fully intended to use those. But then when I got the third set in, I was like, and I only bought the third set because I could get it overnight and I needed some right away. And I ended up keeping them and returning the other 2. And Paul says, if a tripod is cheap and unstable, you can always turn the IBIS on. Yeah, it's true. Um, I normally have a problem that needs to be solved, sometimes based on ease of use or improvement in the experience of photography. Sometimes the answers are not to buy at the moment. Yeah, I usually wait. A lot of things you can wait before you buy it and do more research or think about it more. And so I purchased the L bracket you suggested for the M1 Mark II. The fit was perfect. No need for two-sided tape. Oh, great. I'm glad that worked out for you. Um, I sold my M1 Mark II and Mark III, but the base plate that I recommended to Peter was the same one that I used on those 2 cameras. And I found that I needed to add double-sided tape inside just to give it a little bit more compression and stability. Maybe they've improved the design since I owned those cameras, so that it doesn't wiggle. But I was having a slight alignment problem, and I do architectural stuff. I can't like use this high precision gear head and then have my camera moving a little bit, right? So that's why I put the double-sided tape. But if they may have improved it and the design slightly since I bought it, because it's been many years now. And David Crooks is here. Hey, David. I was just talking about you. I was thinking I might come over later and get that 150 to 600 from you, unless you're going to use it tomorrow. But I was thinking about maybe borrowing it for tomorrow's Bombay hook. You should go. You should just go, David. Go with us. We got 1 seat left. Uh, I got Audrey to go too. So now it's just 1 seat. Oops. And then Manfrotto recently had an issue on their website with pricing. Got 2 times $1,100 stands for 48. Ooh, man. Oh man. That's a deal. I heard about that happening with some jewelry once. It was like a $10,000 piece of jewelry, and it was on their site for like $1,000 or something. I forget what it was. It was in the news, but they honored it. They honored it. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. Back in the day, I had a few bucks. I wasn't super rich, like multimillionaire type person, but I was pretty comfortable, right? I'm piss poor now, but 20 years ago, I was living large by my standards, right? And I got to show you this. This is totally not photography related, but I just want to share it with you. Her, Arkin. Give me a second. I got to find this thing. I was shocked. Okay. How do I put this on the screen? Um, Hermes Birkin. Yeah, give me $100 off this bag. This bag is $33,000. And then I saw this one. I saw this one. $185,000. I mean, seriously, I don't know how this came up. I shop bags and backpacks all the time, and I almost I mean, mixed leather and alligator leather hardware, so black hardware, whatever that is, full plastic on all hardware, limited edition. Anyway, $65,000 for that. Okay. I mean, that's got to be like Dubai prince princess type product, right? Audience or consumer. I never heard of this brand before. And when I saw that, I was like, I just I mean, that is a whole different class of money. When you can buy a purse or bag for $33,000, let alone $185,000. $33,000, that's more than I ever paid for any, well, I'm lying. Recently, my last 4 cars since I got poor, I never paid $33,000 for a car. I mean, I paid 25,000 for my Mazda. That's all in taxes and dealer fees and that was all in 25,000 for my Mazda. And I only paid 5,000 for my Jeep. I bought it used off my buddy. I forget what I paid for it exactly, but it was around 5,000. But oh my God, $33,000 for a bag. I mean, that's more than a Leica. You could buy 3 Leica M11s for that. Or a Leica with the 50 millimeter Summicron. Not the Summicron. What's their good one? Yeah, it's the Summicron, right? uh, and another. I mean, it's just crazy. I thought Leicas were expensive. Now I'm thinking that people that can afford Leicas probably have that bag, and they're putting them in that bag, right? God. Yeah, where's my affiliate link for that Birkin bag? Do they have an affiliate program? Let me look. You go down here to the bottom, and sometimes you can find it. Media inquiries. I can sell my watch. Let's see what they got on Instagram. Okay, I gotta stop. Oh my God, look at these watches. That's kind of cool. Wow. Look how thin that is. Oh my God. That is crazy. The second thinnest watch in the world. So what's it called? I'm sorry about not talking about photography, but I'm just fascinated now. The RM01. Let's see if they have it in here. I don't know. Anyway, they don't have any pricing here, but I'm just curious. I just type it in. Octo Benissimo. I love watches, by the way, so I can't help it. I don't see it here. Contact us for purchase. Oh my God. Oh my God, that's hilarious. They don't even put a price. Just contact us for purchase. So now we have people that are just normal everyday working. We have people that make good money, right? I have a few friends like that. And then there's people that are considered kind of rich, right? Millionaire status, maybe a few million. Then there's like, this level where if you have to ask how much it costs, you can't afford it. I mean, all right, there's got to be a one on eBay. Price. I mean, these normal watches are already 27,000. 13. Oh, I guess that's not so bad for a luxury watch. But I don't see that one. Yeah, they don't put the prices for these. Oh, all right. Sorry about that. I got distracted with watches. I love this watch. This is my Seiko 5. It's like it's like you can you can get a deal on these for like 60, $70. They typically sell for about 100. Um, this is a good watch. Very durable, keeps time well, but you have to wear it every day. Otherwise, it's mechanical, right? So it stops keeping time if you don't wear it like every day. You let it set for one day and it stops ticking. Okay. Oh, sorry. I got that one. And said I picked up that $17 tripod you recommended. My wife claimed that she's very happy with it. Awesome. That tripod's back up to $60, I think, right now. I had it out. So, yeah, where are you going to get a tripod like this for $17? Okay. If this goes on sale again, I'm going to post it on my community tab. I mean, I feel a little bit guilty using the community tab to shield products, but come on. If somebody got a good deal, like who is it? Andy got $1,100 stands for $40. And he had a YouTube channel and a community page, and he didn't tell anybody about the $40 deal. I would unsubscribe immediately or whatever. I'd be upset. So, you guys, if this ever goes on sale and I don't tell you about it, you should unsubscribe from my channel because I'm not doing you any favors. This was a deal. Converts to a monopod. It's less than 24 inches this way. It's probably about 20 inches collapsed, so it fits in a bag. All metal. Anyway, I've talked about this tripod a lot in my shopping streams. $17. this is worth $60, and that's a fair price. But $17, you will see this on my community tab every single time with my affiliate link, of course. I make like less than $1 if you buy one, right, in commission, but that's not the point. The point is, I feel like I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't tell you about, even if you have a good tripod already, you can keep this one in your car as a backup. Just keep it in your trunk as a backup. So anytime you forget to bring your good tripod, you have this as a backup, right? I mean, this tripod I bought, this one was $47. It's selling for like $200 now. It's not worth 200. It's probably worth about 100. Like if you bought this for 100, you wouldn't be too upset. But I got this for $47. You know, carbon fiber travel tripod with an articulating arm, right? I did find, the reason I brought this out is I did find uh, a design flaw on this that I didn't catch when I was doing a review on this. Because I reviewed this in a video. So I'll tell you guys now. If any of you did buy this, let me know. Which knob is it? This, probably this one. There is one design flaw that I found. Well, it's not really a design flaw. It's not intended to be used this way, I don't think. But okay, so you can pull out the center column, right? The threads in here are plastic. I mean, they shouldn't have put plastic threads in here. The threads on the other side for the monopod is metal. So you cannot put this, if you want to get a little extra height on your monopod, they put the threads here implying that you can get a little extra height. But with plastic threads, you know, I stripped them right away because I couldn't get the thing tight enough with plastic threads, and I stripped it. I mean, I don't care that I stripped the threads here because I'm never going to use this now as a monopod, or I'm not going to use this part for the monopod. You can remove the ball head and attach it to the leg directly. It's just not as tall. It only comes up about this high. I would prefer it to come up to about here, but it only comes about this high. That's not really high enough for a monopod, in my opinion. You know, unless you're 5 feet tall, then it's perfect. But for me, at 5'8", I need it up this high. So that's definitely something I missed. Because when I first attached it, I don't know if I attached this in a review or not. But last night when I was trying to figure out what can I substitute for a monopod, because I sold my good monopod, I was trying this one out. I said, oh, this would be a nice carbon fiber lightweight monopod to take with me tomorrow. And that's when I figured out these threads are plastic. So it doesn't take away from the reason I bought this thing. I didn't buy it because I cared about it being a monopod. Because like I said, I have a good monopod. But I bought it because I can articulate it, you know. I bought it because I could, you know, it has that center articulating arm. And for this, it's awesome. This is another good backup tripod. This is the tripod I'm actually going to carry as a backup. It was in my car. I just brought it out last night. This is my backup tripod because I can do macro work with it and stuff. But it's not on sale anymore, unfortunately. I'd still recommend it at $47. It's a great carbon fiber tripod with articulating arm. You can't find an articulating arm tripod for less than $100 normally. I have one now that's $80. Anyway, I'll talk about that on Tuesday. But thank you for sharing that. I'm glad she liked it. It's awesome. Hopefully you got another one. You can get another one. And Thomas is here. Good to see you. Says, hello, Rob and fellow trekkers. Late to the show from glorious early autumn morning in Atlanta. Nice. David Brown. Well, I've not used Arca Swiss on anything yet. I think the Nisso macro focusing stage has Arca Swiss on the base plate, but I'll need to check if I'm correct on that. Yeah, that's sometimes a little tricky because sometimes things will fit Arca Swiss clamps, but they don't look like they're Arca Swiss plates, right? I'm just not familiar with NISI enough to give you advice on that uh, quickly. If I do a little research, I'd figure it out. And Eric says those handbags look like the place in my mom's shops, and even Marcus overpriced garbage. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. Those bags. Haha, the Birkin bags are crazy. I learned a lot about them in university class. So crazy. Really? Goddamn bugs. Oh, excuse my language. Is a Hermes bag Rob Truck recommendation? Oh, like, yeah. 33,000, 65K. Well, that'll offset the view on any camera gear price. I know, right? Yeah, I got this camera I spent like 6,000 on, but now I got to get a bag for it. It's crazy. Yeah, disposable. Literally. Disposable's kind. That's a kind word. Very yeah, get a Birkin referral link. I will, if they had one. There are waiting lists for some of them. Come on. Now, 20 years ago, more than 20 now, when I was shopping Ferraris, there were waiting lists for Ferraris. Not anymore, I imagine, but back 20 some years ago when I was shopping them, there were waiting lists. They had a few used ones on the lot, but I was like, I want I want new. God, crazy, crazy times back then. I'm worried about buying a $150 to $300 pancake lens. I know, right? We need a Rob Trek watch channel. Yeah. I know, it seems like a lot of photographers, they appreciate, finely crafted, you know, machines. I don't know if you would call a watch a machine. What do you call these things? It's not a machine. Device seems a little bit understated. Finely crafted, uh, pieces. Maybe we'll just call it a piece. But that's how I think about OM system cameras. I think they're very finely crafted, fine pieces of something. I'm missing that word. I'm gonna have to get my thesaurus out and figure it out. There is unprecedented demand for luxury items nowadays. How? How? Timex from Walmart. Man, my favorite watch uh, for a long time was the Timex I got from Walmart. It's awesome, and I got a new band for it. All right, let me get my watch collection. I know it's so photography related, but it is. A lot of you guys like watches, right? So let me grab that. I'm gonna just spend 2 minutes on it, and then we'll stop. All right. So this is one of my cases for my watches. This is my everyday. So this is not the, I forget, this is a reproduction of like a very popular expensive watch. Uh and it's mechanical. It doesn't have the clear display on the back. But this is a mechanical watch, but you can also wind it to get it going. I think I paid like $20 for this watch. No, I don't remember what I paid, but it was well under $100. And it's a great watch, easy to read for my dying eyes, and it's good looking, classy. Tacit, maybe it's a reproduction of a Tacit teaching watch or something. I forget. That's not the one I wanted to show you. There's two that I want. Well, now three. So this is the Timex watch I got from the Timex Expedition. It didn't come with this band. The band that was on it wore out because I wore this watch so much. Uh, Look at that. It's still ticking, actually. Is the time right? 10:30. Look at that. It's only short by about 1 minute. And I haven't worn this watch in about a year. And it's only lost about 1 minute on the time. Because right now it's 10:31. It says 10:30 here. But I got this new band for it to kind of match the second hand. And you know, it's a quartz watch, so it's nice and thin. So a NATO strap works well with this one. Uh, and then, so that's Timex. This watch, this watch is a knockoff of the Hamilton. Um, see if I can get that to focus. This is a knockoff of the Hamilton. The Hamilton watch is a mechanical watch. This one is a quartz. I think I got this for about 60 bucks. And it comes with a really nice, one of the fancy pants type clasps. Uh, but this is a really good knockoff of the Hamilton. The Hamilton costs about $1,500, and I got this for, I think I paid 60 bucks. And then one other watch. I got a Star Trek watch too, but I'm not going to show that one. It's pretty plain. Uh, this one here, this one here I wore a lot. I switched over to the Seiko for a little while because I got tired of green, so I wanted to go with blue. This was a gift from Rick Bear. This is a Loris like field watch. This is one of the most comfortable watches I've ever worn because I have small wrists, but it's really thin. And I bought this strap to go with it. It matches the original pretty closely. And yeah, I wore this for about 6 or 8 months straight because it's just so comfortable. I didn't even realize had it on, and it's durable and keeps really good time. And then this one is kind of neat. This watch here, this has got a very retro. Oh, I got a scratch and I got to fix that. This kind of got a very retro future look to it. But this is a Wave Scepter Casio. I think I paid about $60 or $70 for this one too. See that bug flying around? A fruit fly. I was eating some apples and avocados yesterday, so I think fruit flies are fast, man. It's like one day in the trash, and you got like a trash full of fruit flies. Anyway, uh, I love this watch. So the time on this is always 100% accurate because it keeps in. Sometimes it keeps track of atomic time or something. Anyway, I never have to set this watch. It's always precise, right? Um, but I just like the look of it. I mean, I don't care that it's super accurate because it keeps sync with like some atomic clock or something by radio signal. Uh, I just thought it was a really neat looking watch. So there's that. I got some other watches in here. I got my one fancy pants watch that I really like. But I don't want to talk about watches all day. Ugh. But I don't spend a lot of money on watches. The one watch, the most I ever spent on a watch was like $400 for a Seiko. I forget the model number. It's a Sarb something, but it has the previous generation mechanical, uh, gears in it. I gotta get rid of this fruit fly somehow. You know what happened is the reason I got fruit flies and freaking mosquitoes in here is because my bug zapper stopped working. I have a bug zapper that I keep right over the trash can, and 2 days ago it stopped working. Maybe, well, maybe it's been a week now. I only paid $20 for it. It lasted about 3 years, so I'm fine with that, but I now it's almost winter, and I don't need a bug zapper anymore. I need it for, like, another couple of weeks, and then we're not gonna have bugs around here because we're gonna have a good freeze overnight here in the next few weeks, I imagine, and that'll kill all the bugs. So it's like, do I spend $20 now? I guess I can start shopping for one, get a good deal. Anyway, funny part is a $30 camera is just as accurate as a $30,000 one. What do you mean by that? I have a $30 camera. I guess it is accurate. It's kind of a generic. I don't know. My $30 camera, it takes okay pictures, but it's far worse than a cell phone even. Oh, Temu, $23. Yeah, there's some good deals there. I bought something off Alibaba not too long ago. Oh, I bought my Godox radio trigger. Uh, the um, the OLED one. This one. This one here. I did a review on the one from Nikon. They sent me the Nikon one because my buddy has a Nikon camera. So I said, well, send me the Nikon one. Then I gave it to my buddy after I was done reviewing it. But I bought this for myself, uh, the Olympus version of the radio trigger. So I could do a tutorial on it, but it's pretty straightforward, right? Just touch screen. I mean, doing a tutorial on that, it would almost have to be a full-on tutorial about flash photography. But anyway, flying fish photo, the histogram in the EVF and the M5 is better size and position than the OM1. Yes, I agree. Uh, especially when taking landscape shots. Yeah. Yeah, the OM1 is kind of up in the corner, or yeah, it's a little bit smaller, and I'm not a fan of the OM1 histogram. Not that I use histograms much, so it didn't, for what I use that camera for, I don't worry about histograms. But if I was using it for landscapes and other longer type exposure photography, that would be more critical. Long form photography, not long exposure, but where you take your time. And Rob would have bought that tripod, but Amazon didn't recognize my UK prime. Ah, that's too bad. I wish I was more familiar with UK pricing, because the pricing over there sometimes is way better than what we can get here in the States. Because I've seen deals on 43 Rumors. When I go to their site, they'll say in the UK or in Germany or somewhere, this you can get this now for like next to nothing, but they don't have that deal here in the US. So if I start making recommendations for other countries, I could be way off. I could be way off. I don't have a feel for when something is a particularly good deal. Here in the US, though, I definitely have a good feeling for when something is a good deal. Uh, I'll have to rebuy that tripod Thursday, being I lost the connection clip that connects the camera to the pod. Really? Oh, the plate. Well, you just need to buy another plate, but then, plates are like $10, $11. If you can get the tripod for 17, why not just get the whole tripod, right? Cursing Rob is my kind of Rob. No, I gotta really watch my language. I've been watching, I just recently discovered Bill Burr. Man, that guy's got a mouth on him. And then when I'm out, I'm dropping I'm dropping those curse words like no tomorrow sometimes. It's bad. I mean, I went most of my life without cursing. Um, well, high school and college, yeah, I cursed a lot, but then most of my adult life, I'd say 90% of my adult life, I never curse. Uh, and then I started watching Bill Burr, but I like the stand-up comedy. I can't remember the name now. They don't. It's clean, right? No cursing. It's just funny. And you go down that rabbit hole and you start looking at other comics, and then all of a sudden you hit somebody like Bill Burr that just it's like, and I'm not offended by it at all. People can curse all they want. It doesn't bother me. But I try not to curse myself. Timepiece. Yeah. Mechanism. It seems weird calling a camera a mechanism, right? I know we were talking about watches earlier, but I was trying to think of the word that I could use for cameras. It's a finely crafted piece of gear. I guess you have to use a different. This fruit fly will not die. How is it? How is it these little tiny, this tells you how out of element we are as human beings versus any other creature on earth. We're just God damn. Darn you, Bill Burr, with your language. Uh, I just nearly knocked myself out trying to kill a fruit fly. Wow. Where's my fly swatter? That's what I need. Anyway, I've got the 180 millimeter. Oh, but can't fit the other piece. Okay, you're talking about the plates, I think. 180, that's a big plate. I would say right around 120 is probably more practical. I mean, I know we need longer plates sometimes, but if you want to do panoramas and stuff with a wide-ish angle lens, you really don't want more than 120 millimeters to make adjustments because the rail will be in the frame or the plate, whatever you're using, a plate or a rail. Yeah, there's lots of Apple Watch copies around. I got a Samsung smartwatch. I got it for free for I signed up for Verizon, and they were offering like a free smartwatch with your subscription. So I got that. Never use it. I just prefer a finely crafted timepiece. Like the Seiko 5. This thing is awesome for less than $100. It's an awesome, awesome watch. Just the right size for people with a small wrist. If you have a small wrist like me, I think my wrist is maybe, I forget, I measured it, but I can almost put my hand around like this tiny, tiny wrist. Timepieces by Trek. I could do that. Yeah, if I was rich, I wouldn't waste it on expensive crap. My house would be fully restored to late 70s, 80s stuff. That's cool. I know, I'm like, I had an, I gotta get rid of, gotcha. Oh, fuck. Where is it? That close to getting them. It's one fruit fly. Anyway, um, notice the watch being on your left hand. Are you lefty or is the video reversed? You leftists have to stay. I'm right-handed, but why? I never wear my watch on my right hand. I thought you're supposed to wear it on your left. That's where I've always worn it, is on my left. Have I been doing it wrong all these years? That's interesting. It's never come up. You wear your watch on your left hand, right? If you're right-handed, you wear your watch on your left. Because you could be like signing your contracts and you want to look at what time. Okay, today is Friday the 13th midnight, and you sign your contract in blood, right? So you would You would do this. I don't know, you tell me. I could be getting it wrong. You have an affiliated link for the bugs? No. I gotta shop them again. It was 2, 3 years ago. You know how these cheap things are, right? They'll sell it for a year or 2, and then you'll never see it again. You have to buy a different brand. The new and improved latest model. We need to release fruit flies on Rob every You're having fun watching me get attacked by this fruit fly, aren't you? It's really, oh, I have some silver watches over 100 years old. Wow, that's cool. Are they pocket watches? Interesting thing about pocket watches, that you slip down like this into your front pocket. Uh, that's how the turbuline winder came into being. Is because when you have the watch vertical, the turbuline winder was more accurate. Yeah, accurate's a strange word choice there. I'm not sure exactly what it meant. Add a watch and bug zapper category to your shopping site, sure. And I asked OMDS if they can change it in a firmware update. Oh, we were just talking about something from you. What was it? Um, I seriously doubt they will. Oh, about the histogram. Yeah. It's a fair ask. Like, because I remember in the old, uh, well, anyway, you used to be able to change the info screen. I'm using that. I don't have any, I don't have any TruePic 8 or 7 cameras out. Oh, my Pen F will have. Okay. Best camera ever, by the way. Um, but just so people understand, there's the histogram on the Pen F right down here. It's perfect right where it is. I think the OM1 is up here and it's a little bit smaller up here in the corner. But if I recall, if I go in the display menu, yeah, that's where you set it, the histogram. And then on playback, you can get like the separated RGB histogram, and then you can get the big histogram too on top of that. Um, so there's like the RGB histogram, and then there's the just the luminance histogram, all the channels combined. This is in playback, not live view. In live view, it just has the histogram here on the bottom, and that's perfect. It's perfect where it is, but I like the new level meters on the OM1 a little better. I know Robin doesn't like it. He likes the level meters on uh, older the older menu. But I kind of like it on the new one being in the center. I know it blocks your point of view a little bit. Uh, so I understand why he doesn't, and probably a lot of other people don't like it, but it doesn't bother me. I prefer it actually. Timepiece mechanism, yeah, I know. Finely crafted mechanism timepiece. I collect the oddities made obsolete by GPS. Oh, that's interesting. See, I knew there was a lot of you out there. Uh, hold on. My chat jumped way up. The new Rob Trek Angry Photographer channel, cursing camera reviews and track. My subscribers are probably double. Like I'd lose like everyone here, or half of who people that I have now, and then I'd probably pick up like 3 times many more. These whatchamacallit, these let me just put it this way, there's a lot of big personalities on YouTube, and, they got 1,000,000 subscribers or half a million, whatever. Ugh, but they got big personalities, not like me, I'm very melancholy, kinda laid back, about as laid back as you can get without being dead, right? I don't know how many times people have said they watch my videos to go to sleep, and I get it, because 'cause I'm so laid back, and some people like the sound of my voice, and they just find it soothing, and they go to sleep to it. I just heard it yesterday again from someone in my photo club. I'm not offended by it. I get it, you know, but I hope you got that fly now after smacking your face. I know, right? No, I didn't get it. It's still here somewhere. Maybe it's left. That was an amazing offer for the Panny G9 too, $600 off plus trade-in. Oh, yeah, I saw that, yesterday. That was pretty freaking awesome. If I didn't have an OM1, I would be seriously tempted by that. Yes, yes, more crushing. I know what you mean. Wear your watch on the hand you don't write with. Yeah, so that's my left hand. I don't write with this hand. And right-handed, okay, so yeah, I've been doing it right, far as I know. Not that there's any right or wrong, or right or left. Just wear it on whatever wrist you want. What does it matter, really? They like vinegar. Yes, pocket watches. I I don't know what, it's like you're talking about fruit flies and watches in the same sentence. Doesn't make sense to me. And Lasse says, I wear my watch on my left hand and I write with my left too. Actually, I'm quite double-handed. Yeah, my cousin is ambidextrous, man. He can write with his left or right hand. You ever guys watch The Patriot on Amazon Prime? Where, not the movie, but the TV series, where he had to learn to be left-handed like in a day. That was a great episode. That's a great series, by the way, The Patriot. I use bug zappers and lights. Yep, definitely. But I use mine in my house over my trash can because, yeah, I get fruit flies because I eat a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. So I get a lot of fruit flies in my trash can. But also because I leave the door open a lot for Ellie, even though I have like one of those magnetic screens that keep most of the bugs out, they still get in, particularly mosquitoes. I got so many mosquitoes on my house yesterday because my bug zapper stopped working and the weather got a little nice the last few days. Ugh. And Paul says, I suspect watches will die out eventually. My kids use their phone to see the time and don't even consider wearing watch. I've heard some people can't even read like a normal dial watch. Like they look at the dial and they have no idea how to read the time. So I've heard. FLM. Hey Anthony, how are you? What is FLM? I don't know what that means. So I've been looking at a Pentax K3. Oh, I never knew true monochrome chips create ridiculous resolution, and EM5 monochrome would be outstanding. Yeah. That is the other topic I thought about talking about today was the monochrome, particularly the K33 monochrome. I was shopping those yesterday, and because somebody submitted an image to my photo editing live stream with a Q2 monochrome, and I was seriously impressed with the image, the file. I mean, it was a beautiful image, right? The photography was awesome. But the file, the quality of the image, the file itself, the characteristics, I was really impressed. And it's hard to nail down if it's the sensor being monochrome without all the, filters on top of it, right? In combination with the Leica lens, because the Q2 is what, the 28 millimeter renowned lens. So I wonder, I just, I don't know, that Leica look definitely shined through on that image that somebody submitted in my last photo editing live stream. It's a black and white landscape, like a rocky landscape. And it was just phenomenal. It threw me off at first because I opened up the DNG file and I'm like, how come this is not in color? And then I looked at the EXIF and it said, oh, Q2 monochrome. I was like, wow, wow. And editing was easy on it, but I think the editing I did on it made it worse. I really liked the straight out of camera raw image that was captured. I was really impressed. So I was watching some videos yesterday on the K3 monochrome, and I actually watched one again this morning on the K3 monochrome. And the the two that's the one that sticks out to me, the one comment about that camera that stuck out to me was the uh by Chris Nichols on Petapixels about, yeah, for an APS-C sensor, you get like a stop more dynamic range or whatever. Like it was you're getting you're getting a sensor that's punching well above its weight, punching near full frame equivalent in an APS-C size sensor because it doesn't have that RGB or Bayer array on top. Probably doesn't have some other filters, but it doesn't have that Bayer array primarily. So you're getting a stop more light onto the sensor to begin with, and then you were getting better dynamic range and yada yada yada, all that stuff, right? But his argument in that video was, why not just get like a K1 Pentax full frame and shoot a monochrome? Like just get a regular full frame camera with, you know, full color and shoot a monochrome, because the larger sensor will offset the APS-C size sensor, the difference, that one stop of difference, right? And I don't know if that's all there is to it. You know, the fact that you're still going through a Bayer array filter, RGB filter, I feel like it's going to take away some of the tonal range or some of the magic that you would get with a full-on monochrome sensor. Now, my question is if someone were to send me raw files from a K1 monochrome and I'm sorry, a K1 color image converted to monochrome and a Pentax K3 image side by side, would I be able to tell the difference, right, in a blind test? And then if I started working with the file and editing it, would I be able to tell the difference, right? So there's that initial impression side by side without any editing other than conversion to black and white, and then actually editing the file. And at that point, I would know, right? But editing the file, am I going to see any difference in detail, noise, dynamic range, all of that stuff? Because not very often, but time to time, you do get clipped highlights, you get noisy shadows, uh, you get mixed white balance lighting, right, all over the place. So I don't know. I'm very intrigued. It's still around 2,200 bucks for that camera, but it's available. You can get one. Unlike some of the Fuji cameras, you can get a K33 monochrome right now at B&H or maybe even Amazon. And I have some Pentax glass that I can use. I definitely have the kit lens. I think I also have the 50 prime, if I recall. Although I can't find it now, but I thought I had a 50 prime before. I haven't used my Pentax in a long, 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 long time. So yeah, I'm curious because I was just kind of, I wouldn't say I was floored by the Q2 monochrome image that I got, but I was definitely intrigued. I was like, hmm, this is this is different, right? So the question is, do I just go and get a 35 millimeter Summicron lens and put it on my Pen F and see if I can get that magic? Or is it because of the sensor, right? Or is it the combination thereof? Because it's a full Q2 is a full frame monochrome with a freaking Leica Summicron lens on it. That that's a pretty yeah, that's pretty much a dream camera as far as monochrome cameras go. Because the Q2 is a 47 megapixels, so there's certainly going to be the detail. You throw on the fact that it's, full frame, will have a bigger pixel, deeper well, all of that stuff. And then throw on top of that the Leica lens. Q2 monochrome is selling for what, 4 or 5,000? Would it be better just to save up and get that, or just get a K3 monochrome and get sort of that same richness for black and white photography, that same depth and beauty that I saw with the Q2 monochrome? I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm sure some of you out there have the K3 monochrome and a full frame camera. I would love it if we could compare a black and white image from your K3 monochrome to a converted full frame black and white, assuming they're side by side. I don't have the budget to do something like that myself. Money no object. I would have done this a long time ago, right? But it's definitely got me intrigued. And Robert says, agree about the pen I've currently in Charlotte. Oh, that's why you haven't been around lately. Bought the 14 to 42 pancake, the 25-18, and the 45-18. All I need. Yep. That's all you need. It's a great combo. It's a great, great combo. And Robert also has the Nikon ZF, and yet took his pen out. I'm sure you have your ZF with you. I don't know. But um, we both love our Pen F. We both have a silver Pen F. He's in my photo club. That's why I know him as well as I do, and love adapting vintage lenses to our Pen F. And man, he gave me he didn't give it to me. He let me borrow one of his 135s, the Nikon 135 2.8, and also I think it was a Zeiss 135 2.8. Really beautiful, beautiful images coming from that. I mean, the focal length is so tight, it's a telephoto on a Pen F, right? But uh, just glorious, glorious images out of the camera with those lenses. So I think a lot of the uh, quality of the image that I saw, or depth to the image that I got from the Q2 monochrome, has a lot to do with the lens as well. I was really, because I've noticed that depending what lens you put on your camera, you get a very different look from your images. That 3D pop, so to speak, whatever that is. Hi, Rob. Did you see the? I didn't see the aurora. I put the image on your group page to let you see how well we got in Northern Ireland. We shot with the O1. Oh, that's awesome. Let's take a look at that together. I don't talk about it enough, but I do have a group on my Flickr page. Ooh, this looks like one I edited before. You did a better job. Or someone sent me one very similar to this. Man, that is gorgeous. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys can't see this. That is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So this was on your OM1. What lens did you use with that? Really good processing too. Really, really nice down here. It's almost like you did a bracketed shot, like you took two pictures. So did you expose separately for the landscape and then expose for the sky separately, then blend them in Photoshop, or was this it might show in the exif data, maybe. So this was the Olympus 7 to 14. Wow. I guess I need to make the screen bigger. Olympus 7 to 14, ISO 6400, and then this was maybe an Adobe. It's not necessarily Adobe if you see this, but denoise, enhance denoise. Okay, so it looks like you used Lightroom, did the denoising algorithm, and then process it to taste. Because I don't see I don't see a lot of other data here from the editor. Okay, beautiful shot though. If I can go full screen, that is wonderful. I missed it. David Crooks, uh, David Crooks texted me Thursday night that he wanted to go out and shoot the aurora, and I didn't see it till Friday morning, so I totally missed it. Totally missed it. Emily Taupin has a video, I think, right now about how to shoot the aurora. So I was starting to watch that before the stream started. Then I'm like, oh crap, it's 9 o'clock. I need to go set up a live stream and talk to people. But I'm gonna watch that later today. And everything goes in cycles. Watches will be popular again. Yeah, just like film cameras and digicams. Maybe watches will come back. And Fro know nothing about photo. I like Fro though. He has a big personality. I know. I don't know why I like him, but I like him. I mean, I just think he's I don't know. I like Fro. What can I say? That's all I can say. I like the Fro. First time I ever heard Rob curse, all hail the mighty fruit fly. Oh my god, I know. I know, my language. You could watch my streams for the last 8 years that I've been on YouTube. You'll never hear me curse. I think I've cursed more in this stream than I have in every other thing I've ever done combined in the last 8 years. And I think the G9 II offer is gone and the camera's out of stock. Wow, that's awesome though. I really would love to see more people shooting Micro Four Thirds. I'm thinking of buying a full frame mirrorless for adapting vintage lenses. Okay, this is my take on it. Uh, or this is the direction I decided to go. Is Nikon F mount, specifically the Nikon DF. This one here. Now I get it. You're not going to be able to really adapt a lot of vintage lenses to this camera, but Nikon has a lot of great vintage glass with and without autofocus. Just like some of the old Canon DSLRs, a lot of great glass. But Canon's mount, I think you can't like use really vintage Canon on Canon autofocus cameras. They keep changing mounts, but Nikon didn't change mounts forever. And so the 135, 2.8 and 3.5, the 105, 2.5, legendary, right? Lens. And now I sound like the angry photographer. But that's where I got a lot of my info from when it comes to Nikon lenses. Because I shot Nikon early on. But I can just buy vintage glass and mount it directly without an adapter onto this camera. And that's the route I decided to go. Now I have a full frame mirrorless, this Sony, and I have all the different mounts, adapters, so I can adapt just about any vintage glass I want to it. Got a whole box full of adapters because Sony was actually the very first digital camera I bought. Gosh, it's been 11 years now. 2012, I think I bought her. 2013, I bought a Sony NEX6. And I got all into the vintage glass thing, buying vintage Nikon, vintage Minolta, Vivitar Series 1 glass. You know, they had a great macro zoom lens. So I would say, you know, the cheapest mirrorless. The problem with Sony is the colors are just, I don't like the colors I get from Sony. I get it, you can post process and all of that, but the Sony A7 Mark II, you can get those for about 600 bucks, right? It's a 24 megapixel full frame sensor, and that's probably one of the cheapest ways to go. The Nikon Z6 is selling for well under $1,000 now. That's a full frame 24 megapixel sensor, be great for adapting. And Nikon has beautiful colors. So depending on your budget for a full frame camera, if the intent is to adapt vintage glass, I would say the Nikon Z6, the Mark I, for less than $1,000. Let me just double check. Would probably be one of the better choices. Oh my God, look at that. 700 bucks, 800, 700, 800. Yeah, well under 1,000. So let's see what they say here. I'm kind of tempted to get this now. This in good condition. Shutter count 23,000. That's a lot. I mean, it's not a lot for this camera, but it's a lot if I'm going to buy a used camera. I'd like to buy a camera with less than 10,000, less than 5,000 if possible, on a used camera. Unless the price was killer. 700 bucks, and then usually you can get a 5% coupon with used Photo Pro. I'd probably go that route if the intent is to adapt lenses. You know, if the intent is to use it as a regular camera as well, then you need to step up your game. You might want to go Z6 II, Z6 III, Z7 II, Z8. You know, sort of really up your game on the other thing that would be really nice is the Panasonic S5. Beautiful colors. You really don't need to go super high resolution with vintage glass. It's just going to make it look worse, I think. But at 24 megapixels and using vintage glass, I think is a really good combination. But I feel like the Nikon Z6, of all the ones I've mentioned, would be my first pick to adapt vintage glass to because of the colors. Nikon has sort of this warmth to it, right? It's a slight, it's a very slight magenty, yellowy warmth. And those colors I just said sound terrible, but it's really, really, really nice. And you can get colors any way you want in post-processing, right? So you could buy a Sony, even with its crappy straight out of camera color, you can fix it. But with a Nikon, I found I rarely have to change the colors. I really like the colors the way they came out as they are. Um, that's where I would go. I wonder what a Z5 goes for if you want to go really compact. But with vintage glass, I wouldn't want to be too. God, they cost just as much as a Z6. So I would way get a Z6 over a Z5. Definitely. Definitely would do that. I've heard bug zappers kill the good bugs. Yeah, if you use them outdoors, it's going to kill the moths and uh, whatever other good bugs are out there. That because they're attracted to them just as much as the bad bugs, right? But I use the bug zapper indoors. Uh, I get a moth every now and then, but it's 99% fruit flies and mosquitoes inside my house. Moths have a harder time getting through the screen, right? In my back door. They get through once in a while. The fruit flies are already in the house. They're in a trash can. And mosquitoes, they're tiny, tiny little mosquitoes, man. You can't even see them. They're almost the size of a fruit fly. And they come out and they can work through between the seams of the screen that I have. Okay. Uh yeah, Wayne says outdoors. Yep, outdoors. Might as well spend money on a Leica M11 mono. Wow. Yeah, those are like 10 grand, aren't they? It's crazy. Buy the monochrome. You can always return it, right? All right, let's see what they want on Amazon for it. Uh, let's see. Pentax cake. Monochrome. What? 2,400. Oh, because the grip's there. How about just the body only? 22.99. That's not mono. Look at the K1 is 1,700. That's a deal. K1 Mark II. Why is there no K3 monochrome other than these combo packs? Well, this looks like the best deal. What's this thing it's coming with? What is that thing? Is that a flash? Oh, it's the GPS unit. Okay. I don't know if I care about that, but they give you a 64 gig card, a little bag, and yeah, of course, microfiber cloth, which I got a million of. This little tiny hand grip tripod is a piece of crap. I had one, this one down here. It's crap. But the GPS module, yeah, I don't care about that. But I guess this is a fair deal. The only problem is, oh, focus camera I think is legit though. And the price history, nah, 20 bucks here and there. So I'm not going to get any deal on this anytime soon. Focus camera. This I don't think this is a whatchamacallit, like a international version. I think this is a US version with warranty. But really, the only way to be safe is to buy it like from B&H on these cameras. Because I've read some of the reviews on the Canon R5 Mark II. People pre-ordered it from Amazon, shipped and sold by Amazon, right? That should be a US camera. But people left in the comments that they pre-ordered it, they got it in, and Canon would not warranty the camera because it was an international version. And that surprised me because if you buy from Amazon, ship from Amazon, the seller and shipper are Amazon, or the seller, yeah, the seller and shipper are Amazon. That should be a US model. That should not be a refurb. So I'm always a little bit weary about buying cameras. And it's not like you really get a better deal online with Amazon when it comes to brand new camera bodies. So I always go to my local camera store to buy cameras. Occasionally I'll buy a used one on eBay, the old ones, because you can't just buy those anywhere. But brand new cameras, all of my Olympus gear, my cameras, I bought from District Camera here in, they got a couple locations. I think I bought my OM1 in Arlington, and I bought my OM5 or my EM5 and my EM10 from Burke. And I bought my Pen PLA is an old camera, so I bought that on eBay. Yeah, etc. But yeah, be very conscious of, if you're going to buy a camera off eBay, what I do, I'm sorry, buy a camera off Amazon. This is what I do. So I go here, and then I look for the warranty detail. So 30-day refund. I don't do it often, so give me a second here. But usually somewhere in the description, they will have where to go for warranty, product warranty. For warranty information about this product, please click here. So you click on this, and then please contact the seller directly for warranty information for this product. You'll also be able to find warranty information from the manufacturer website. So this implies that it is a USA warranted item. But I'm trying to find an example. Let me see. What's a camera that's commonly, well, there's cameras that are international versions, right? So Nikon international version. I should really save this for my shopping live stream. International version. Let's see down here. No warranty information. So yeah, you have to be careful. So I tend not to buy cameras, brand new cameras if I want a warranty, unless it's from like B&H, Adorama, or my local camera store first. I always go there first, and then I check the other sites. But Amazon can be tricky. Amazon can be a little tricky. Okay. Oh, hey Walter, how you doing, by the way? Um, would a K3 mono really match a Q2 mono? No, there's just no way. I mean, at least my first impression would be, how can a full frame Q2 mono with a Leica Summicron lens on it, not just trounce a K3 APS-C sensor with Pentax glass? Now, nothing against Pentax. They make fabulous lenses. I was shopping their 40mm f2.5 or 2.8, I think, is a pancake lens, because I was looking at the K33 monochrome, right? But for the difference in price, Yeah, the Q2 is gonna trounce the K3, would be my initial reaction, but I don't have any proof one way or the other, you know? I don't have files from each camera to compare the same scene at the same settings with the same lens and focal length and all of that. And honestly, in a blind test, could you be able to tell? Probably not. But it's not looking at a single image where you start to see the differences. It's like as you take several hundred images, or if not a thousands of images, and you start going through them, that's when you start to get a feel for the differences in the processing, the difference in the file quality, the dynamic range, you know, the exposure latitude, all of the things that you would look for in terms of the raw image. How much better or worse is it than, say, another camera? And I think a very subtle example, it's not a strong example, but when I was comparing the highlight clipping between my full frame Panasonic S5 24 megapixel full frame sensor against my EM1 Mark III, I think at the time. I have the video somewhere. The EM1 Mark III was not clipping highlights like the S5 was. So you have to be you have to underexpose slightly more often with the full frame Panasonic S5 than I would have had to with the EM1 Mark III. Now, the shadow recovery on the S5 trounced the EM1 Mark III, which is to be expected, right? Micro Four Thirds versus full frame. But I was very surprised that the highlight clipping on the S5. So this is what I mean by I don't have several examples in different lighting situations of the same scene by two different cameras to say if a K3 can match a Q2. Maybe it can, right? In certain ways. Maybe it can. I find it extremely unlikely a K3 mono could match a Q2 mono. So do I just pony up and save up for a Q2 mono? I don't know. I don't know because without being able to compare them side by side, I mean, a Q2 mono, the big problem I have with it is the fixed 28 millimeter focal length. I love 28 millimeters, don't get me wrong. I love it. But spending 4 or 5 grand on a camera, on a used one, and being stuck with one focal length and mono concerns me a little bit long term. Maybe it won't matter. Maybe I'll just use it for that and love it and it'll be totally worth it. But when I can take a K3 mono and adapt or not adapt, yeah, I can adapt, not adapt so much, but Pentax has a lot of great lenses. I could buy whatever lens, focal length, aperture, vintage, not vintage, you know, such a huge selection on the Pentax side. I think the versatility of the Pentax would offset any differences in image quality between the two cameras. My gut feeling. So yeah, K3 mono is definitely like Eric is on my short list of cameras to get. Just like the Panasonic S1R, the K3 mono. These are two cameras that are on my very, very short list of cameras to get. And yeah, that and maybe a GFX, right? The GFX 100 is selling pretty cheap right now. You wouldn't the 100S too, or the 100S. Look at that, 100 megapixel medium format. Not medium format like film, but And what's nice about this, because it is mirrorless, uh, you can adapt the Nikon 105 2.5 legendary lens to that camera with no vignetting. It seems to cover the entire frame of that larger sensor. Will that lens resolve 100 megapixels? I seriously doubt it, but all the same. But I think the 50 megapixel might be able to resolve, that lens might be able to resolve the 50. And by that, I mean because not because it's 50 megapixels on a full frame sensor, yeah, that lens might have a hard time resolving that much. But on a larger sensor, the pixels, individual pixels are larger. So you're going to have less issues with, you know, the precision of the light, all that's, I don't want to get into lenses so much, but I think a 50 megapixel GFX would work better with vintage glass than the 100 megapixel with respect to just the overall image quality. So I don't know, that's another one on my short list is one of the GFX cameras. And then so many, like I have so many now, but I think I'm pretty content as far as a vintage glass is my DF with vintage. I have the 51.4, I have the 35 f2. I got the 135, the 105, the manual focus AI glass. I have some decent vintage glass already that just mounts natively to that Nikon DF, and I don't have to worry about adapting. And shooting black and white on 8x10 camera blows most other cameras away. Even 4x5 will outclass most other formats. Yeah, man, that's no joke. When you're talking $5 to $30 per image, it's quite a financial investment. And the workflow is definitely a lot different, right? But yeah, if you're gonna be spending 25, $30 per image on an 8x10, if you can even get the film, let's see what 8x10 negative is. Negative film. So yeah, this is 8x10 color portrait, 10 sheets, $28 an image. That's not counting processing, right? How about the Ilford? See, this is more modern. A black and white, you're talking about 13, $14 a print plus processing, you're back up to $25 per image. So yeah, I I think that would be the major hurdle, right, for me is the per image cost. Guess if I was into it, like what's his name? Loves doing that stuff. Uh he likes the wider format though. His name escapes me now. I love his channel too, and his name escapes me. He doesn't put content out that often, but when he does, it's great. Uh, just one shot used Photoshop to bring up the beach using. Okay, this is in reference to that Aurora image. Just one shot used Photoshop to bring up the beach using linear filter and Photoshop and noise reduction. Yep, that makes sense. Amazing the latitude, right? Exposure latitude of even a 4/3 sensor, micro 4/3 sensor. It's better than people think. I mean, the way people talk about it, it's like, yeah, your image is going to be trash every time you take a picture with micro four thirds. I'm like, no, it's not. It's fine. Just expose your freaking image properly. I almost dropped another F bomb there. Just expose your images properly or bracket, and you'll get a beautiful image. You know, I don't know what these, people are doing to get bad images out of their micro four thirds camera, but I can tell you, uh, it's not the camera's fault if they take a bad picture in terms of noise, grain, all of that stuff. If you take a bad picture, it's because you don't know how to use your freaking camera, you know? I mean, just learn how to do exposure properly. Get a tripod if you have to. Take advantage of the IBIS. I get it. I get it. A full frame camera is going to outperform Micro Four Thirds, hands down. But if you take a bad picture, it's not the camera's fault. Okay? Just saying. And it it irks me when, it doesn't bother me. I got pretty thick skin, okay? When it comes to reading comments and stuff, especially on 43 Rumors site. You get the keyboard jockeys in there trashing Micro Four Thirds, praising full frame. Oh, full frame camera bodies are now, the same size as the OM1 or G9 Mark II, yada yada. You know, why would you buy that? I can get better images every time out of a full frame camera. I'm like, you've seen them. We've all seen them out there, right? People that just trash Micro Four Thirds. Uh, when that has nothing to do with photography, and it only shows how ignorant they are with respect to uh, using a digital camera, because you can get bad images out of any camera, right? Obviously you can get noisy images out of any full frame camera, medium form. You can get a noisy, grainy image if you don't know what you're doing, right? So, like, for example, long exposure photography with a Micro Four Thirds camera generally is going to have less noise, and that flies in the face of most people's thinking, right, or logic, that how can a little tiny Micro Four Thirds sensor camera produce less noisy images than a full frame camera in extremely low light? It's because of that second component. It's a long exposure. Sensors get hot, and full frame sensors generate a lot more heat than a Micro Four Thirds sensor. That's why you don't have like time limits on Micro Four Thirds sensors when it comes to recording video. You can go all day long recording 8K video or whatever. I'm not a video guy. But in astrophotography, where you're doing long exposures all night long, sometimes 3-4 minute exposures, uh, full frame sensor, you're going to get hot spots, you're going to get noise and grain, because the sensor gets so hot compared to, say, a Micro Four Thirds sensor. And if you look at any astrophotography camera, I mean, I don't shop astrophotography cameras, but most of them are Micro Four Thirds sensors or smaller astrophotography cameras. It just doesn't make sense to use full frame sensors for that kind of photography. So that's just one kind of extreme example. In every day-to-day photography, if you're taking noisy, grainy images, it's not the camera's fault. Just saying. Oh, the deal on G9 II is still there, just the camera out of stock. Okay. So maybe you can still order it, get the deal, and just get the camera later. It's worth it. 600 bucks off plus your trade-in. So let's say your trade-in is worth 500 or 600 bucks. That'd be like an OM1 these days. But uh, whatever. Trade in a burner camera, like a pocket camera or whatever. Your burner camera. You trade that in, you might get like $5 for it, and uh, get the $600 off. That's a deal. 'Cause I turn off videos with a lot of cursing, especially F-bomb. I don't want the African gray to pick up that language. I don't know what the African gray is, unless you're African. Um, yeah, I don't know. Cursing doesn't bother me. It's just it's so prevalent. Hearing it doesn't offend me or bother me. A lot of times the context, like Bill Burr, I don't think his comedy would be as funny without it. But anyway, To each his own. Lovely image. I'm thinking EVF, focus peaking IBIS for okay. Yeah, the Z6 the original Z6, the Mark One, would be a great budget way to get amazing, amazing images from vintage glass. DIY photography site did a comparison K3 monochrome and K3 color and black. Oh, I got to check that out. That's interesting. I mean, I just started looking yesterday because I had my photo editing live stream on Friday. And after I saw that Q2 mono, I was like, oh man, how much are the Q2 monos? What's the K3 mono that I was thinking about? So I just started looking yesterday and I've been so busy. Uh, oh, okay, you have more here. The monochrome looked better than the color converted. Yeah. But I think the argument was that Chris Nichols was making that a full frame color converted image would be uh, just as good as an APS-C mono image. Because in their video on Petapixel, they compared the K3 with the K3 mono, right? And they were definitely getting sharper, less noisy images from the K3 mono over the K3 color. But his argument was, and I don't know why they didn't show it, but K3 mono versus K1 color converted to mono. I mean, they said it in the video. Why didn't they just show a comparison if they're going to make a state claim like that? It just, I, you know, that's like a half, that is a half butt review, in my opinion, of the K3 mono that Petapixel did. If they didn't make that statement, that would be fine, right? Then that's all they're gonna, but they're gonna sit there and throw that out there that a full frame converted back to mono is better than a K3 mono. They better back up a claim like that in the video. It could be just one image. I get it. I get it. You know, like I was saying earlier, you really have to take a lot of the images and different lighting and scenes and stuff to get a feel for overall how much better or worse. But don't, give us something. Don't just throw a statement out there like that and leave us hanging. Come on, Chris. And Wayne says, I have a full selection of Canon digital, I assume you mean DSLRs. I'll look into the Nikon mirrorless. Oh, okay. So you have a full selection of lenses, Canon lenses. Yeah. I think those will easily adapt to the Nikon. In fact, I think there's a ring to mount Canon glass to Nikon DSLRs, not mirrorless. And it's really thin, something like that, because the flange distance is a little bit further, so they just had to push it out actually instead of push it back in, something like that. The Z5 has 2 SD slots and not a CF Express card that issues with Win on. Oh, okay. Thanks for sharing that. I don't know much about the Nikon mirrorless side and what issues people are having, right? Because I'm not in that world. But yeah, then it makes more sense to get the Z5. I just assumed the Z6 was a lot better, but if it's having issues like that, that's a workflow issue, right? Then that's going to be a pain in the butt. Answer of my early question for and Windows 11 plus Adobe Photoshop, I have to get a plugin for ORF files. Just got a little more. Wow. I don't understand. I didn't need anything. I didn't need anything to use Photoshop. They just opened up. I don't understand why you're having that issue. Because I have Windows 11, Photoshop 2024. I've never had to do anything special to get an ORF file to open. Windows wants to format them and refuses to read them. Have put them off in Linux and dragged them through it. Oh, wow. Well, I'm using a CF Express card reader with my Fujifilm uses CF Express. I've never had any issues with that, but it might be the way Nikon formats things. I don't understand because my CF Express B card in my Fujifilm camera and my XQD card when I had my Panasonic S1R all worked perfectly fine on my Windows machine. I have a pro grade card reader. Um, I have a different reader for my XQD card, but my pro grade for the CF Express Bs works fine. So it might be the card reader. I don't know. It's hard to diagnose an issue. But the fact that you mentioned it sounds like it's more of a widespread issue where it's not going to be the card reader. It's going to be something to do with the Nikon and CF Express, right? Oh, David says, sorry for the left-right debacle on wristwatches. 10 years since I've worn one. I'm a lefty that wears them righties, so it was my error. Oh, okay, nah, it's no big deal. Who cares, right? Wear the watch on whatever arm you want. There's no law against righties wearing right on the right side, right? Or vice versa. Thank you, Nick Carver. Thank you. I don't know why that name, I couldn't think of that name, but that's what I was talking about that shoots, large format film. Amazing, amazing channel. Terrific videos, very inspiring just as a photographer. Whether you shoot film or not, you got to watch his channel. The 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 workflow that he has, the attention to detail, the the just you can see that he loves doing photography and all of the steps that he takes to take an image uh, to get that final shot. And I really like his photography, the images that he created. He inspired a lot of the photographs that I took. Um, for a little while, I tried to copy him in terms of style. I wonder if I have any of those. Let me look on my Flickr page. I'll show you one. If it comes up, I'll show you one I did that was inspired by him. Of course, I don't have any here. Maybe in my Panos page. No, the Panos are mostly landscapes. I would show you what I'm scrolling through, but that would probably give somebody a seizure if they watch me scrolling through my images. Did I not post any? Garage, store. Huh. Oh, I do have some pretty cool images that I like that. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to show you. Store. What if I just put in building? I don't have any of the images that I can't believe I didn't post any of those to Flickr. I'm just going through. These are all just my normal shots. 'Cause I love architectural photography. I don't understand why that image isn't there. Hmm. Somebody, well, I do have this more recent one. My intent was not Nick Carver, but some people have said that this looks a little bit like Nick Carver type stuff. I took this picture in 2019, so this was before, yeah, right here, very first comment. I took this picture before I discovered Nick Carver, and this is a terrible picture. I don't know how this got on Explore. I mean, the lines are not straight. There's some perspective distortion. Uh, what did I took this with my TG5, so it's a little bit noisy. So this was before I had noise reduction software. Well, I might have used DxO. Anyway, I didn't think there was anything special about this image, and somehow it got on Explore with 125 likes out of nowhere, which is a lot for me because I don't have that many followers here. But that's not the image I wanted to show you. I don't think, yeah, none of these. I will show you these though. If you guys, this is the TG5. I compared it with the A7R5 here, side by side. I mean, I like the TG5 image a little better overall, but there's not quite as much detail when you punch in, which is fine. I mean, no, don't pixel peep this image, but it's a nice image, I think, of this structure. I took this one yesterday with my TG5. It's a 3-shot panel, so I took 3 images and stitched them together. And this is a 16 by 7 uh, frame with the TG5. And this is the same image. I did the same thing. Uh, but this is what I mean about Sony. I was struggling a little bit with the processing. I tried to edit this the same as the TG5, but ultimately I don't like the colors quite as much as this one. This one appeals to me more. You guys can check that out. It's on my Flickr page. I'll put a link. Let me. I'll put a link for anybody that's interested. There's a link to my Flickr page. Um, yeah, you bought an R6 II from Amazon and had no issues. But if you go to the R5 Mark II and read the comments, you'll see a guy in there that could not get his Canon registered, his camera registered. Because you would expect it to be legit, right? Just like you got yours was legit. And I would suspect most of them are, but you do have to be careful. There's international versions of stuff on Amazon. You have to be a little careful. And it says, I have a DSLR camera that the SD card stopped working. The rest of the camera works. Do you think it's worth fixing or just investing in a new camera? Cost of repairs would be like $350. DSLR cameras are so cheap now. I would just replace it, because, yeah, I would replace it. Try to find a replacement with a lower shutter count than the one that you have. And yeah, I don't, unless for some reason that camera has some sentimental value to you. I don't see any reason to fix it at 350 bucks. Then you still got an old camera. If that's broke, what else is going to break on it next, right? So try to find one with a lower shutter count. You might spend twice as much than 350, but then you'll have basically a much newer camera, right? An inexpensive dedicated mono would be great. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. And the Ricoh GR monochrome is cheaper than the Leica and the K3. Oh, I forgot about that one. What does that cost? Ricoh GR Monochrome. Wow, it's like half the price. Well, that's black and white trim ring. I is this monochrome or not? It just says black and white trim. I have to look into that. It's not popping out at me. It's just I don't know. I have to look into that. Uh what's the card reader to use, because it did it to my Fuji XH2S as well. Oh, okay, I'll show you the one I got. It's on my deals page, I think. It's on sale right now for like $67. I'll pull it up for you. You know I got to give you an affiliate link. Oh, it must have, the sale must have expired. Let me just grab it for you. ProGrade CF Express Reader. Oh, it's not on sale anymore. Anyway, uh this is the one. I bought this last year for my XH2. Works great. No problems at all. Uh so here's a link. I mean, it's a little pricey, right? Whoops. I just gave you a link to my Flickr page. Hold on. That's a link to the exact one that I bought. As you can see right here, purchase September 2023. And it's here on my desk. What I like about it is that on the back, you see the plug here? It has a USB-C plug in the back, so you can use any cable, USB-C cable with it. Uh, you're not, it comes with one, but you're not stuck with that one. You can use a longer one, which I actually switched to a shorter one myself. But it's just a nice little touch in the design of the device itself. Okay. And then Robin says 8x10 black and white film can be found for less than $10 a shot and can be developed at home and contact printed. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if the Ilford was $13 per print, I'm sure you could buy like Kentmere or something. I'm sure there's like cheaper sheets, right? And then you develop it yourself. That, what's that, about 25 cents a print, maybe? I don't know. It's not very expensive to develop yourself. I think I was developing for like $1 a roll, and you could, this is a 35 millimeter, but I could do $1 a roll for my 35 millimeter film. So for an 8x10, it might be $1 a print or $2. But yeah, I definitely keep costs down. I would just spitball in there off the top, right? Just quickly pulling out. And then Mark says, I used the Velo GK card reader. Works great. So, yeah, never heard of them, but wonder what that is. I mean, it doesn't make sense because Yeah, nothing comes up here. This is this thing. So 3-in-1 CF Express XQD dual card slot reader, $47. Because the USB-C, the USB and SD card standards, they're standard, right? Worldwide, it's a standard. It should they should be able to just uh there shouldn't be any mystery or any compatibility issues. It's not like you're trying to adapt an autofocus Canon lens to a Nikon camera. Apparently that works out okay, but you know, uh well, anyway, you know what I mean? It's not like you're trying to reverse engineer reading an SD card or a CF Express card. The standards are publicly available, I assume, between the CF Express cards, the USB, the card reader, all of the chipsets, everything is pretty much open source. I don't understand why any card reader would not work. I've never had an issue with any card reader ever. Um, I bought the Pro Grade specifically um, because I wanted UHS-2 and I needed a CF Express card reader. So that did both. It had the CF Express card reader and it had UHS-2 compatibility for regular SD cards. And then I like the design. It's a nice little squared, durable box, easy to travel with the separate USB-C port. It was on sale yesterday. It was on my deals page yesterday for $67. So you could have saved like $12 if you bought it yesterday rather than today. It doesn't go on sale very often, that thing, but it was yesterday. But yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Oh, the African gray is a parrot who's a good talker. My wife doesn't like cursing. I worked in a shipyard when I was a kid, so swearing doesn't bother me. Okay. Sorry, I'm so ignorant. Uh, I can read SD cards fine with it, only CF Express and only Windows 11. Yeah, it's weird. Unless there's something proprietary about CF Express and they had to reverse engineer how to read a CF Express card. Or maybe one of the pins are bad, somewhere. Could be because, the CF Express cards, they got like a million pins in them. But uh, have you tried someone else's CF Express card in your card reader? I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to diagnose things, but it could be the CF Express card you have itself. It could be the card reader. It could be something in your computer, USB driver, something. Um, but it would be interesting to see. Like, if you live next door, I could just give it to you and you could try it with my card and my S card reader and do all those different combinations to diagnose which one is the problem. Because maybe it's not the reader. Maybe it's the card that you're using. I don't know. Yeah, formatting could be an issue, but I assume he's formatting in camera, right? And that shouldn't matter. Shouldn't matter because formatting is another thing. If you format on a computer, you have to select the right format, like 32 FAT or whatever. Uh, you don't want to format your SD cards with NTFS, right? But um, oh my God, somebody's doing donuts with their car. I can hear this tire screeching, like a short screech for 1 or 2 seconds. Somebody slammed on their brakes. But these are tires screeching now for about the last 20, 30 seconds. Now they're driving off. Where would you do donuts around here? In that direction? Oh, there's a church parking lot. That could be it. but it's Sunday. Ah, anyway. All right, folks. I think I'll call it here. I've been jibber jabbering for God almost 3 hours. Holy smokes! And most of you have left. It looks like anyway. Well, a lot of you are still here from the beginning. I really appreciate that. Um, Great Vancini says, it's weird that I've used many cards with the D500, Nikon's D6, and Fuji has, and Windows 11 wants to format them all. Gosh, that's weird. So you have tried using different CF Express cards. I just don't understand. And then it says you can recover deleted data from a drive is overwriting the drive over and over again, then only completely wipe it off. Oh, no, no, no. You can get um you can get it's shareware. You can get shareware that will uh delete your drive's data completely. So there's a couple of ways to do it, right? There's the there's the you format your drive. It's not going to erase data. It's all still there. You're just deleting the index. With solid state drives, you don't have to worry quite as much. If you format a solid state drive, it is pretty hard to recover. Uh, the last time I checked, maybe that's changed since I've looked at it. But a regular hard drive and SD cards and things, yeah, those are very easy to recover. If you only format it, you can recover a lot. To get rid of the data, you have to go bit by bit, sector by sector, whatever the terminology is. You have to delete every single byte on the drive. And the way you do that is you write something over the top of whatever data was there before, byte by byte. And they have several different standards, but there's one where you just write over that space, that byte one time. So let's say you had a byte in there that read 0020 or 00101010. It has some binary code in that one byte. Then you write it over with all zeros, right? So there's software out there that'll do that. And then they do that one time, but they've been able to recover data if you only overwrite it one time. There's still some residual uh, magnetic signal there that they can read. So they have software that'll overwrite that spot, 10 times, right? So it definitely has pretty much erased whatever's on that drive. That's really the only way to truly do it. Let me see. Let me look that up and then I'll go. Yeah, it's called data destruction. Oh, damn it. I was looking for just a simple software. I don't do it anymore because my data is not worth anything. Oh, I'm just All right, here's a link. Read this article. Um, there's this is a good starting point, right? It's basically a list of software for deleting data off your hard drive. But I think these are related to like wiping a completely operating system and everything. If you want to delete data just in the free spaces of your drive, there may be ways that there should be some options for that too. Because maybe you just want to delete the space that's on the drive that you're using as your operating system, your C drive. You got a lot of empty space. There's a way to go in and delete and erase just the empty space on your drive and not erase the entire drive. So just be careful of that and you'll be okay. Okay. Yeah, Rakuva works well. I've used Rakuva, that's true. Rakuva works pretty well. But yeah, Bill, just give some thought to if you want to erase just the empty space, but keep everything else, your operating system, your documents, fine, safe. You can delete that way, or you can delete like an external hard drive. You want to just format it, but erase everything too. There's a couple of different levels of doing that, and I think for most of us, just overwriting one time. But if you want to overwrite a space 5 or 6 times, it could take hours. It could take hours. Okay, and I'm not sure the technology on SSD drives how effective they are for that, if it's needed at all. Because the way SSD store data is very different than physical hard drives, and but it still could be a problem, right? So read that article to get you started. I'm a little bit behind the times in that particular type of software. Okay, I'm definitely going to go. Thanks everyone for being here. Really appreciate it. I'll be back on Tuesday for shopping live stream, and Fridays I do my photo editing live stream. So submit your images there for me to edit. You guys have a great weekend and rest of your week. I'll see you again soon.